Alright, this is the Chapter 3 test review, answer key video. For our first one, it's asking us to take a look at the terms and like terms of this expression. Our terms are just whatever we see without the pluses and minuses. With any minus term, remember we have to make it negative when we list it. Same thing here as being minus 8, so I'm going to say negative 8. For like terms, it's any two that are either both constants, or if they do have variables, they are the same variable and raised to the same power. So my like terms would be 4m and negative m. Both are m, both are raised to the first power. And then I have my constants, 3 and negative 8. For number 2, my terms are going to be 10p, negative p, 2s, and 3p. My like terms, this is a p, p, p. All those are raised to the first power, so all those are like terms. So I'd say 10p, negative p, and 3p are all like terms. This 2s doesn't have anything that is like to it, so it's not going to go in my like terms category. For number 3, it says simplify the expression. If you'd like, you can do per karate math and chop slash everything. If not, that's okay. With the commutative property, we can switch these two around so that my like terms are right next to each other. With that, I'm going to combine my like terms. Right, negative 1/4 h. I'm going to do karate math, chop slash. I have a negative and a negative. Those two are the same sign, so they're going to get more negative. If we do this, 1/4 plus negative 5 can also be written as 5/1, which then making common denominators would be negative 20/4. This is going to get me to negative 21/4 h, or negative 5 1/4 h. Okay, for my two constants, I have negative 2/3 being added to positive 2. Here, I'm going to make common denominators really quick. Okay, this is going to go to negative 2/3 plus positive 6/3. A negative and a positive, those two are opposites, so they are going to subtract in value. 6 minus 2 is 4. 6 was the bigger one, and it was positive, so my answer stays positive. To make this an expression, I'm going to take the two that I got answers for and use those to make my new expression. For number 4, I've got the same thing going on. I'm going to flip these two with the commutative property so that my like terms are right next to each other. 8.1p plus 3.5p. And then we've got negative or minus 4a plus 3a. My two p's I'm going to combine together. They're both positive, so they're going to add in value. I'm going to get 11.6p. These two, 4 negatives, 3 positives, that's going to result in a negative 1a, or just negative a. Put the two together, 11.6p minus a. If you want to do minus 1a, that also works. Number 5, find the sum or difference. For this one, again, we're kind of doing the same thing. I'm going to move my two terms and take the sign with them so that I'm being consistent. This is now going to be negative 2/7 m plus 1/14 m being added to negative 8 plus 5. To make these common denominators, this is going to end up being negative 14/4 m plus positive 1/14 m. That is going to result in negative 3/14 m. Negative 8 plus positive 5, that's going to result in a negative 3. To make my simplified expression, I'm just going to write it together. For number 6, I have this minus sign right here, so this is going to tell me I need to add the opposite. I'm going to make this a plus sign, and I'm going to make each of these the opposite. Positive 1/5 is going to become negative 1/5 y. Subtracting 7, I'm just going to say is now adding 7. I've just added the opposites. From here, I'm going to do my same exact strategy using that. Now my equation is going to read 3/5 y plus negative 1/5 y. Remember, this changed to negative, so I need to make sure it's there. The minus sign in the middle turned into a plus sign. Positive 2 plus 7, right? It wasn't minusing 7. Now I'm going to add 7 as the opposite. 3.5, or 3/5 y, and negative 1/5 y. Right, that's going to combine, and we're just going to end with 2/5 y. 7 plus 2, that is just simply 9, and I'm adding. And there's my answer. For number 7 and 8, we're going to be distributing in and then combining like terms. For distributing, I'm going to multiply 1/3 into both of these. 1/3 times 9m. We can always write any whole numbers over 1. These are going to be simplified into 3m and 1, which is just going to give me 3m. 1/3 times 6. I'm going to write 6 over 1. These can simplify to 2 and 1. This is just going to be 2. Putting it all together, I got 3m plus 2 plus 4m. From there, all I need to do is simplify my like terms. I have two things with m's. I'm going to put those together. My final answer is going to be 7m plus 2. For number 8, I'm going to distribute again. When we distribute negatives, we got to make sure our sign changes. Negative 2.4 times y is just negative 2.4y. Negative 2.4 times 6, right, if we need to, 2.4 times 6, 4, carry the 2, 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Remember, it was a negative times a positive. This is going to turn negative. Rewriting this, I've got negative 2.4y minus 14.4, adding positive 7 down. My only like term is right here. These have opposite signs, so they're going to subtract. I'm going to make sure I actually put it in the right spot. 4 minus 0 is 4. I need to borrow from my neighbor here. 14 minus 7 is 7. The 14.4 was the bigger one, and it's negative. So my simplified equation should be negative 2.4y minus 7.4. Moving on, number 9. It says factor out, or factor 16x plus 224 using the greatest common factor. To find greatest common factor, all right, we can do our ladder method. The greatest common factor between 6 and 24 is going to be 8. 8 goes into 16 2 times, add my variable. 8 goes into 24 3 times. To make this a factored expression, I need to make sure I have my GCF outside, and then these go inside. Make sure your signs match. For number 10, it's already telling us what I need to factor out, which is 1/4. I get 1/4 y and 3/4. There are a total of 1/4 and 1/4. How many 1/4 are in 3/4? Well, we can do that by dividing it out. This is going to be a multiplying by the reciprocal situation. Both of these will cancel into 1, and I get 3. Or we can think to ourselves, how many 1/4 are in 3/4? That would be 3. Simplifying this down, I get 1/4 outside with 1y plus 3 on the inside. Finally, for number 11, it's telling me to take out 1.5 out of 6w and 7.5. You can take the negative with you, or you can leave it and add at the end. For this case, I'm going to bring it with me. Okay. For 1.5 into 6, right, we can think about this looking like that. I would move my decimal point 1 spot. So now I'm really thinking how many 15s are in 60. That would be 4 of them. Add my variable. This was a positive. I'm taking out a negative or dividing by negative. Positive divided by negative should be negative. For the next one, I can think 1.5 into 7.5. Move my decimals for how many 15s are in 75. That would be 5, and it goes in evenly. I have a negative being divided by a negative. This is going to remain a positive. To make my expression, take what you factored out, and in the inside, I'm left with negative 4w and a positive 5, or plus 5. For number 12, it says each person in a group buys a bag of chips, a soda, and a candy. How much does the group pay when there are 3 people in total? Well, if each person, right, in the group buys all 3 items, then I can just add all 3 items together. And total for each person is going to be $6.50, right? From there, really, it's $6.50 per person. So I can label it like that. I have 3 people, so I'm going to substitute in a 3. $6.50 times 3 is going to be 15 there. 18 plus 1 is 19. My total for the group is $19.50. For number 13, it says a rectangular block has a length of L and a width that is 15 less than the length. How much does it cost to fence the backyard? If it costs $2 per foot. For this one, it's going to be helpful if we draw ourselves an example. All right, there's my rectangular backyard. The length, it says, is L, and the width is 15 less than the length. So for the width, we can say it is the length, but just 15 less than it. Right, when it says to fence, right, we're talking about the border. That means we're going to look for perimeter. Notice for this one, there isn't really like a 1 foot tile or 1 or 2 foot tile thing. It's just saying a fence, so we're not really adding more to the length. For this, I have 4 lengths. Negative 15 plus negative 15, that's just going to be minus 30. All right, to get my final cost, I'm going to take $2 and multiply it by my perimeter, because this is how many feet the border of my yard is. I'm going to distribute in. 2 times 4L is going to be 8L. 2 times minus 30 is minus 60. For number 14, it says a square Lahore bed has a perimeter of 20x plus 24 feet. I'm going to draw a picture really quick because that's what it says to do. There's my picture. It says that the total perimeter is 20x plus 24. Draw a picture and label the side lengths to support my answer. Okay, it says factor to find the length. Okay, factoring, I use the ladder method, and I'm going to think, right, squares have 4 equal sides, so to find one of the side lengths, I'm going to factor out a 4. 4 goes into 25 times, dropping my variable. 4 goes into 24 6 times. So I know that each side length is going to be 5x plus 6. If I were to add all these back up again, I'm going to end right back at my perimeter, which makes sense. All right, so when it says draw and label, that is what it's looking for. Okay, for number 15, why is it helpful to simplify all of that before substituting 10 in for x? Well, simply put, right, we would only have to substitute one time instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. Right, if I simplify everything down, combine all my like terms, I'm only going to be really dealing with one term with a variable and one constant, right? I would combine 7, -2, and 6. So, to make this simply put, we would only have to substitute one time instead of 4 times. Last question here, number 16 says John sells tacos at his food stand. He sells each taco for $4. It costs John $1.50 to make each taco, and he has to pay $8 for rent. Okay, so if I were to describe the situation, this is what I would put as an expression. 4x, well, that's right there. He sells each taco for $4. Okay, so we could say that this is the amount each taco sells for. Okay, what does negative 1.5 represent? Well, that's going to be John's cost to make each of these. It's going to be amount each taco costs. Right, taking away from ultimately right here, this 2.5x, we get that by taking $4 minus $1.5, right? This is going to represent the profit, aka the take home per taco. Right, so if he sells 2 tacos, he's going to get $5. If he sells 10 tacos, he's going to get $25. All right, that is our chapter review. Please make sure to look it over, get that in, and best of luck on the test.